Tomorrow will be very important for figuring out whether the crash is still going on or if we were just lucky enough to avoid another bear market. What happened today that made the market bounce back? I want to talk about that in this video. More importantly, I want to talk about whether or not something bigger needs to happen to keep the rise going. Guys, it looks like we're safe for now, but tomorrow we'll learn something that could make or break the rise. I also want to talk about some great news about institutions such as Ripple. Hey guys, it looks like Ripple's items are really popular behind the scenes. Stay with me for the whole thing because I have something really cool to tell you. Your help is very much appreciated as always, thanks a lot. Thank you to everyone who liked the movies and signed up for the channel. These two easy things help me a lot. Also, if you ever need to buy XRP, check out the link in the description of this video to my favorite channels up, hold down. Now that I've said that, I'll get right to it, and I hope you enjoy it. So to start this video, I want to talk about something pretty cool that's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be a big deal, but it's not the kind of big deal that will really tell us where the market is going in the future. The smaller event that will happen tomorrow is that it looks like Paul Atkins will finally be named to the SEC. Obviously, that's going to be really cool. Paul Atkins is someone who supports Bitcoin a lot. He's really, and the owner of many cryptocurrency companies. He doesn't just own cryptocurrencies though, and he's not just a Bitcoin fan. It's clear that this is very good news for getting the SEC to stop making broad rules. Not long ago, this would have been a huge accomplishment. It would have changed everything. It would have been like, wow, this is really cool. But the truth is that the whole government is positive about cryptocurrencies and the SEC no longer has as much power. This is amazing. This is a big step forward, and I think it will be huge for companies like Ripple and the digital asset XRP. It's one of those moments when you realize you don't have to worry about the SEC as much anymore. Their hands are really off of the Bitcoin business. It looks like they'll do what's best for everyone, including the business. And because of that, I don't think it will be a big bullish catalyst, even though it's a great event. I think the SEC will finally give us clear rules for the first time ever. This is a huge step forward for the whole business. When it comes to the SEC's power to enforce laws against the business, I believe that time has passed. A lot of the cases were taken care of before Paul Atkins was even put forward. In other words, it's a good sign for the future. It's good that it's finally happening, but I don't think anything major will change when he takes office. I believe we are now moving in the right direction toward getting clear rules and laws for the business world. I believe these will be very important for Ripple and XRP in the future. Finally, I would like to talk about a very interesting note that Ruth Economan found. Today he wrote this post, which is about Coinbase's derivatives offering. A short explanation of what XRP is can be found on their swaps product. Also, I'd like to read you the note that Coinbase put on their website about XRP. They said that one of the main ways XRP is used is to make it easier to send money across borders using Ripple's business solutions, like RippleNet and on-demand funding. OD uses XRP as a bridge currency to allow real-time currency conversion. This cuts transaction costs and processing time for business payments and money transfers by a large amount. Because of this, XRP is very appealing to banks, payment services, and money transfer services that want to find faster ways to settle transactions. What makes this so interesting is that, at the very least, Coinbase wrote it themselves, and it's clear that they can see that Ripple's OD product is getting a lot of attention. Another reason I think this is so important is that, let's face it, cryptocurrency is still very new, and many people who use Coinbase don't know much about them. For big investors, having something like this on Coinbase's website will make sense right away. Like, oh, a real reason to use cryptocurrency, this is really cool. I didn't believe that banks were really using this stuff. It all makes sense now. This XRP thing moves very quickly. Moving money takes a long time. It's likely that all of these banks had to wait days for money to be wired into their accounts. It's really cool that they can just see this and get a short explanation of XRP's uses and say, oh wow, that sounds like something I'd like to do. I believe this shows that big investors will not view this business in the same way as retail investors. They're not going to say, oh, Solana has a lot of meme coins. Let's go put our money there. I don't think so. I think it will be very different. I think that many of these institutions will be looking for things that are valuable in and of themselves, and that they think will be useful in the future. That's the way they usually spend. A full risk analysis of a business is usually done before a financial firm invests in it. Does this business stick? Is this business going to keep doing well? What does this business do that makes it different from all the other businesses? So that's how they'll decide what to do with a lot of these coins. In the end, most cryptocurrencies are just hard to see how they're valuable. And I think this is a great example of how well Ripple has done at making a clear use case for XRP that banks will immediately understand. No matter what kind of bank you are, moving money is a bad thing to do. The process is broken. And many of the banks that are getting into Bitcoin will want to see proofs like this to make sure that this stuff can be used in the real world. An American product like XRP would go well with Ripple, which is strong professional leadership. Guys, this is a powerful mix for making real money in this business. That being said, I'd like to talk about what made the market bounce earlier today and how we know this will keep happening. On this channel, I've been talking about one of the most important things you need to know about the current situation, that it was made up by the Trump government. I'm not saying taxes were good or bad, but it's important to remember that they were made. In the same way that COVID was not like a virus, this was not like a financial crisis where there is a problem with the whole banking system. These two things showed up out of the blue. Everything started to fall apart right away, and no one knew how to fix it. But there were a lot of different rates. That's one thing I tried to make clear on this station. But with taxes, things were different because Trump always had a way to back out. He could just cut the cord and stop charging fees if things got too bad. There were a lot of people who didn't really get this. Everything that was going on with us was planned and managed, which is neither good nor bad, it just means that someone was in charge of it. What we saw earlier today was that the Trump government stepped in and took charge. Let's stop this, they said, because they were tired of seeing the stock market fall. They did this by getting rid of taxes on most of the world's goods except for China. And this is something that not many people thought about. They believed that the Trump administration would leave the stock market to go down further and would never do anything to stop it. I always thought that was a little silly. It was a political move by the Trump administration to say, hey, the stock market is falling too much. We'd rather not deal with this. Hey, let's temporarily stop taxes. Nearly 75 countries are already coming back to us to talk about new trade deals. They can stay on China, but they can be more selective. We can then rework deals with the rest of the world, call this a big win, and move on. This will keep the stock market from falling and keep the political pressure on us low. That's the exact math that was done. We've been saying the same thing on this station. Someone will always be able to step in and stop this, so it will happen at some point. Now I'm going to play you a short video of the Trump administration breaking this down. I just wanted to let you know that I thought this little movie was pretty funny. All of this is part of a much bigger plan by the government. There were a lot of people who couldn't see this and thought it was the end of everything. They're going to leave everything alone. It seems like not enough people are aware of the planning that's going on here behind the scenes. Please excuse me. Please excuse me. Please excuse me. Please forgive me. But I'd like to add to what the secretary said. Many of you in the media, they really didn't get the art of the deal. It's clear that you didn't understand what President Trump was doing. We've seen the opposite of what you said would happen. The rest of the world is getting closer to China. The whole world is calling the US, not China, because they need our markets, our customers, and to talk to this president in the Oval Office. That's why people from more than 75 countries have called. As the secretary said, the president showed a lot of courage by deciding to take even stronger action against China. This is because the United States is the best place in the world to do business.